it is difficult, it is challenging, but but that's what it is. So if I have to get back, there's no shortcut, right? We have to go through that process, and mentally not torture yourself is what I would recommend to anyone. It's very rare that you are very good in sports but very poor in work. That will never happen, because the quality of attention that you give in sports is same, you want also in your work, because you have your colleagues. You can't expect them to curse you. That is really not fair. So, and we know work is what finally also pays us. So,
correct. Yeah.
So it is a very, very critical aspect. So minimize wasting time on anything else.
I am Venky, and this is the Working Athlete Podcast. Here, I talk to working athletes from all walks of life and experts from various sports to provide you with inspiration, training tips, time management, and lifestyle advice. If this is something that interests you, please make sure you subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any future episodes. Today's guest, Bobby Thomas Phillip, better known in the endurance circles as Barefoot Bobby, is an insanely disciplined runner. Well into his 50s, he routinely runs faster than runners half his age. In this day and age where pros and amateurs alike are taking advantage of all sorts of technology innovations to make them faster with carbon inserts and whatnot, Bobby has a personal best of 2 hours 55 minutes for a full marathon without any shoes. In this episode, we talked about his endurance and weight loss journeys of losing 16 kilos over the years. We talked about barefoot running and what are the things one needs to keep in mind for anyone considering taking the barefoot running route. We talked about strengthening and injury prevention as well, among other things. My takeaway from this conversation was how far you can go if you keep things simple and work hard consistently over many, many years. I really enjoyed this conversation. I hope you do too. With that, let's get into my conversation with Barefoot Bobby. Welcome to the Working Athlete Podcast, Bobby. It's a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you. And I'm glad I get this opportunity to talk to you and hear from you too. So, yeah.
Superb. So, Bobby, let us start by talking about what is work for you.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you're referring to my professional background, I've been working with Nokia. It's almost been 13 years and in the field of telecom and capability development. So all through my career, I have been in the capability development field. But I don't think you would also know, just a couple of weeks back, I took an early retirement.
Oh, nice. I didn't know that.
I took an early retirement. I mean, all through my life, it has always been a struggle, right? As sportsman, you get up at insane hours. So in my case, almost for 10 years, I've been getting up at 3:45, reach the destination by 5 o'clock. We do our workouts for 2.5 hours and then come back home. And then again, it's a very rigorous and tough journey. So I would always think, I never get time to relax. I never get time to ease. And then finally, post a lot of discussion at home and doing away with a lot of my responsibilities.
Yeah.
It was good time for me to take an early retirement.
Absolutely.
Now
awesome.
Now just chilling out. Not that I'm going to do more, but it's just that time to just relax.
Yeah. Good to hear. So now, what was your relationship with sport growing up? Any sports in school, college kind of thing?
So school days I would just play around. So I've never been a sportsman as such. So there was never. So I would play cricket as kids. Typically all of us would play cricket in the ground. So that is typical what happens. We were reasonably good. Then we would bike, we would cycle around. So these were the typical things. Nothing specific. Nothing ever in my dreams would I ever think of. So running was never there, and there was never any sort of specific focus towards this sport. So it was just the typical playing around, and that's why I always tell everyone that my running is purely accidental. So there was nothing to ever tell me that I would be a good runner, or I do have some good form which would help me take a lot forward in running. It's just that.
Nice. So let us talk about that accidental start. So what? Yeah. How did that happen?
So see, we always have sports in the school, right? So every time kids go and play a sport, and some of them win it. So I was telling my daughter that you have never been actively into sport. You just go, instead of just going that day and running, why don't we prepare ourselves and be better prepared for your sports event? So that's how we started. So I said, okay, we have around 2 weeks time. Let's run around our place. So we have a garden just adjacent to my house. So we started this. So one day morning we woke up just a normal, wearing slippers. We did 1-2 rounds. Next day again we repeated that, but instead of 2, probably we did around 4. And then the next day again we further increased it. From 4 we made it 6. And we got better prepared for her sports event. Her sports event got over, and I continued with the journey of running and increasing. So the good thing, the real good thing which I found here was that I could specifically see myself improving day on day. So when I could do 2 and then 4 and then 6 and then lesser breaks, or so there's a very good measurable improvement day on day or week on week. So that's what actually caught the interest on me.
Okay. When was this?
This was 2009.
2009.
Yeah, around the month of March, end of Feb, month of March.
Okay. Now my cycling journey started in 2008. October 2008. October 23rd 2008 was when I bought my first cycle. So I think our journeys were like.
With what objective did you buy it? Just.
So I was overweight. I was 92 kilos. In February 2008, on my birthday, I kind of weighed myself and I was 92 kilos. We were expecting our first kid. And I told myself, I'll probably, and it's not just about the weight. I was very unfit, and I had a lot of health issues. Like I had asthma, and I would suffer, bouts of bronchitis almost, every month. And that kind of, that day, that thought came in where I asked myself, if I am not able to take care of myself, I'm bringing a new life into the world. Will I be able to take care of, my family? So that question kind of got stuck with me, and it kind of stayed with me. And that before that, many times I've tried to lose weight, go to gym, this
right,
and all, but nothing really stuck. But once that thought came, and once that I went to play badminton. I was out in a couple of minutes, playing with what I was then referring to as uncles, which we are, about our age now, I guess. But, I kept at it, and over the next 6 months, I think 6 to 8 months, from February to October, I lost about 16 kilos.
By playing the game,
and I was running to kind of improve my fitness to play the game. And then I made some dietary changes.
That's a very big change. 16 kilos is a very big.
16 kilos in from 92 I came down to 76
in a span of just 8 months or so.
It was just a span of 8 months. And and that is when I thought, okay, now that by that time my kid was like 6 months old. And I thought, okay, I need to spend more time with the kid. Should I kind of instead of specifically giving time for exercise in the morning, 1.5 hour I am spending, instead of doing that, should I integrate exercise into something that I do daily, which is going to office commute, right? So that thought came, and I said, okay, let's try that. And that is when I did a lot of research and bought Hero Hawk, which is like a 4,000 bike. And that is where the journey started for me with cycling. And then like after riding to office, it was 7 kilometers. I quickly realized that it was not giving me enough exercise. So I started doing weekend rides. And then, one led to the other. I began loving those rides and stuff. So it kind of grew from there. That's
and
my
when did
journey.
you change your bike?
So in 2008 I bought that. 2009 August, about a year, I happened to go to US. So I did not obviously take this one there, but I researched something there, and I actually built a bike for myself in a community bike shop there. It was before going from here, I researched the area that I am going there, Vermont, and I found that there is a community bike shop which collects old bikes, and you will be able to work on those. And if you volunteer there for 8 hours, it is open only 1 or 2 days per week, and that too evenings, a couple of hours, right? So if you volunteer there for 8 hours, you will be eligible for building your own bike from whatever is available there. So that is how I actually built my own MTB there. So and that was and then I bought my first fixed gear bike, and I actually got that here. So that became my second bike here, and I was using my Hawk for commute, and using my Fixie for riding all around. And eventually ended up doing TFN on that Fixie, and in 2011. Oh,
those years also there was there?
TFN started in 2008. It was kind of parallel to my start in cycling. So that way it was parallel. But I am not sure why we are talking about my journey.
Interesting. Interesting to hear that. But it's really surprising. I'm really eager to know, how did you lose that 16 kg? That is, it's too. See, even running you wouldn't lose weight so easily. So there are multiple factors. For sure, disciplined diet, and exercise, and so it's not as easy as just biking.
No, so definitely not. See, you are absolutely spot on there, because it was not just through badminton. So I used to do multiple things. I used to, I started with badminton. I was getting down and out within 5 minutes, playing with those uncles, right? So I wanted to get better. So I started, those jogging around the apartment, and then I started doing yoga.
So there were many other factors.
So making sure that every day
I think most critical would have been also your diet.
Absolutely, that's where I am coming to, because without diet, nothing else would work. Nothing else would work. What are the changes that I primarily did was, I would, before I was gorging, huge amounts.
Right.
The portions became lesser. Controlled. And then apart from the portions, it was also about the timings. I kind of when do you have your dinner, so I moved the dinner timing to quite early.
Yeah,
Right.
that's
So
right,
that also really helped.
absolutely. Yeah.
So all these kind of contributed because I was really focused, motivated.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Because and I was seeing the benefit. By the end of those 8 months, I was off all the medication for my asthma and everything because before that. No amount of medication helped me, get through those.
But sugar and all was okay. I mean, you consuming sugar point of view, that was all fine. Normal.
Yeah, normal. I didn't.
Yeah.
So whenever I eat, I used to eat like everything
in big quantity.
Big quantity. So cutting down made sense. Yeah. So the snacking in between was almost gone.
So for me, to lose 16 kgs, it took me almost, I would say, the first 1.5 years, I was quite, I reduced from probably 76, 77. I came down to almost 66. So almost 11 kgs I lost in the first 18 months. But with no focus on diet, no change in diet, nothing. I mean, nothing. Only was my running.
Right.
Purely only from running, I lost around 11 kgs in the first 18 months. And then
from 2009 to
2000, I can say early 2011.
Okay.
Early 2011 is when I reduced that, and then from 2011, 12, 13, 14, 14 and 15, so 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 5 years I was constant on 66. And then I started, in 2015 I took a decision that I would run bare-chested in the Tata Mumbai Marathon. So that's where I took. So 2015, I took the decision that 2016 Jan when I run Tata, I should run bare-chested. And obviously, when you run bare-chested, you don't want to show your tummy off. So that's where I started doing my workouts at home. So just to ensure that my tummy is in a reasonable shape. And so that since that time I started my strengthening workouts. I think in around 8 months or less than a year, I lost another 5-6 kgs.
Wow.
Again with no change in diet. So I came down to almost to 60 kgs, and now I'm constant in that 60. So anyhow, diet point of view, I am disciplined. So I don't overeat. And probably it also comes with age. You have to be conscious. And then I always am bare-chested. So I know I cannot, overdo things.
Right.
So I always keep telling, we eat lots in a day. Why overeat, just one and then, collect it. So eat, that there's another meal coming up.
No, I still struggle with it, Bobby, to be honest. Right now, again, I am close to 74. The lowest I went to was 66. But 68, 69 is something that I can maintain easily. But when I go off the rails, I get into 70s. And now the last 3-4 months of injury and a little bit of depression and all that.
It's visible. It's really visible in your case.
Because I was mostly taking bed rest and stress eating and all that. So that
and
that
especially if you have a TV in front, then again
I'm not much of a TV person per se, but I do watch quite a few movies, but I'm a movie buff, but not much. I very rarely, like once and twice a week and stuff. But food wise, it's been.
I mean, see, that's the case with almost, I would say, 90% of our people, right? In general, everyone wants to eat. There's a life,
correct.
Right? Everyone wants to eat, drink. There's always also a life. We are not professional athletes, who can do everything only for sports. So you have a life. You have a family. You have friends. You want everything in it. So sports for sure will control you. But there are other areas which you also need to have fun.
Right.
So in my case also, in initial 11 years when I started sports, I mean, I wanted nothing else other than sports. So it was very clear, so I would never, I mean, literally, I used to drink every second day at home. I completely changed that to probably once in 2 or 3 months I would have a celebration at home or anywhere. So literally, and it was not so difficult to control because my focus was lot into sport. Now, since past 1.5 years, I'm again a bit chilled out. Well, actually, since the start of pandemic, I would say, comparatively chilled out, relaxed. So again, sort of celebrations have started. But again, reasonably controlled. I know, I check my weight almost every day, every second day.
Yeah.
I check my weight, and I know, when how to control myself. So, yeah.
So after the pandemic, no weight change or anything?
No, just 1-2 kilos. So just around that 60 kilo, around that mark itself. So it's not.
So since you have gone through this weight loss journey, like myself, right? Maybe users, the listeners would benefit from hearing a little bit more into about that.
Yeah.
You mentioned that in the initial year and a half, it was just running.
Yeah.
What was the kind of mileages and stuff you're doing?
Yeah, early days it would start off with around 20 kilometers a week. I mean, that too, it was at a higher end. So 20 kilometers a week I would have touched this probably after the initial 3-4 months of starting my running journey. So I tested around 20 kilometers a week. And then when I started training for the full marathon, it would touch up to 60 kilometers. 55 I would say, not 60 is also too much. Anywhere between 45 to 55 kilometers weekly.
In the first year and
in the first by the end of the Jan 2011 is when I did my first full SCMM that time. So in the month of September, I would say actually July, August, September, October, I was all clocking around 250 kilometers monthly mileage.
Okay.
I was clocking. So it was quite high by those standards, what I was doing. And yeah, so
after that initial, you said that period was about you lost 10 kilos around that through running and stuff, and then you maintained that till 2015-16, and then you after taking that decision to go bare-chested and running, you lost another 6 kilos.
I did nothing specific other than my home workouts. So there's nothing conscious, anything on my diet point of view. One significant change in my diet, what I did is my dinner, I used to normally eat rice. So I was told that avoid eating rice for dinner, and also have dinner by 6:30 in the evening. So these two things I changed. So I stopped eating rice in the evening and very early dinner. So by 6:30, 6:45 I would normally finish off my dinner. So this thing, and then leave a 3 hours gap before I go off to sleep.
Right. So and then what the timing, basically you changed the timing of the dinners. But what were the home workouts that you were?
The initial days I used to train with the Nike Run Club. So we had Coach Bidu who had brilliant workouts that could be done. So I would rigorously do all the squats, the lunges, the push-ups, the planks. V sit-ups and all of that. So I used to do all of this, So obviously when you start up with, just 20, you cannot survive more than 20 minutes. But within a year span, I think I extended it to over an hour. I was able to do it. And those days an hour means really highly focused 1 hour rigorous workout. It used to be literally, by the end of the hour I am exhausted. So real good workouts. And then I remember when I did my first TMM, there was no tummy. My tummy had gone in, but for sure there were no abs. My tummy had gone in. And then in another 6 months, I could actually start, my abs was, were more visible gradually. So within 2 years, it was prominently visible within 2 years, the abs. Nothing specific to abs, but my general workouts would do that.
Yeah, from disciplined with disciplined eating and also disciplined workouts.
Absolutely.
And you were doing running anyway. For, quite a bit of running.
Yeah.
So
And for me, I mean, one thing is there in me. There's a very high level of discipline that I follow. And another big thing which I always tell everyone is I literally have fire in my eyes. Literally, when I used to do my workouts, anyone would say that it is really insane. Insane levels of intensity I would go. Literally, that place would be full dripping with sweat. That's the kind of, and I used to love it. So literally that fire that I have to do it, used to be there. Now I don't have that fire, so now I'm more of a chilled out person. But that's why, in all my competitions, I mean, people say that you have ups and downs. I can say that for my first 10 years, I would say over 9 years, I've never had a down. I have not even once.
That is impressive.
Not even once I have ever had a down. Not even once. For my initial 9.5 years.
That is some discipline.
That's what I'm saying. No one. I say everyone around me, I call them as, you have no idea what is discipline. So
that is crazy.
Yeah.
Because now I've been in the sport for like nearly 13 years, and I can say that I have struggled with my discipline almost every year, right? Because I go through those ups and downs almost every year. And to kind of maintain that consistency and discipline for so long, it takes...
It's not easy. I have yet to write blogs, on my TCS World 10K, how has it been year on year for the initial 9 years, and same as with my full marathons and same with my half marathons. Every time I've only seen this graph going up. Across years. So.
Amazing.
It has been.
So let us talk about a little bit about your, that trajectory of improvement with running. So where did it start, like for in terms of 10Ks and half marathons and marathons, and how did it progress?
So for me, the first 10K I started running is around, I would say, March 2009. April is when I joined the Nike Run Club in 2009. And after joining the Nike Run Club is when I heard of that time it was the Sunfeast World 10K. So that time I heard of it, and I saw everyone training for it. So again, it's across all ages, right? It starts up from 15 years till 65 years. People like Coach Pani was there. That time he was probably around 55. There were even people elder to him, and they were running like brilliant levels. I mean, for me it was quite a shock to see, across everyone, training for the 10K. I was really inspired, and Reet Abraham was also coaching along with Coach Bidu. So the two of them were brilliant, and they put forward a proper training plan, and we would all do it. And my only objective of my first 10K was that I should attempt to run the full distance and not walk anywhere through that. That was very clearly, and I kept asking everyone, is it ever possible? Because when I started off, even 400 meters, I couldn't do anything over 400. So it was like impossible that I could ever, without a walk, run the full distance. So just 2 months of training, and I surprised myself that I never walked at all. My quads were aching, everything was aching, but I continued jogging, and I did it in around 59 minutes. Which was really brilliant. I mean, there were many more experienced runners who took more than 60 minutes, 65 minutes and all, and I did it in 59. Was really good. So that gave me a big booster, and then I earned the Nike T-shirt. Right, those days, I think all the finishers were initially getting it, or the first 1,500 finishers were getting. First 1,500 finishers were getting the T-shirt. So got the finisher T-shirt. And then afterwards, obviously the next progression was, one is to be a faster 10K and then to do the half. And then was the Mumbai SCMM, there was the half. Trained for that. So then again, to train for the half, everyone said that you need to increase double your mileage. So basically, if you're doing 21, your weekly mileage should be around 42 odd, should be a weekly mileage, is what they said. So so then gradually build up my weekly mileage to ensure that I'm close to 40. So I mean, lots of milestones in between. Like for example, I used to run from home till MG Road and come back. So that is 5 one way and 5 10. So I've never in my life ever done. Can't even imagine that I could run from home to MG Road and come back. For me, it's like they're insane. I mean, I did that once. I said, "Wow, big," and then gradually I progressed further. So I not only go to MG Road and come back, also go to the other side towards Marthahalli.
Right.
And then when I did that till Marthahalli and coming back, it's 20. I said, "You are inhuman to have ever done, going both. You always catch a vehicle." So
right.
and then running and doing it is like big. So I was always surprised with my own thing, and that itself gave me the happiness to keep exploring further. And then we had the Nike Run Club to again give you the the correct training. And then in 2011 did my first full marathon, and that was unbelievable experience. So all of this.
The jump from running like 400 meters or whatever to marathon, right? The first marathon in about 18 months, right?
I would say around 18 19 months.
Correct,
that's
correct.
right.
So how was that that experience of the first marathon?
It was not at all easy. It was, but the good thing is we had good coaches. So the 2 coaches, and then we also had a supporting system, like there was the Neera Katwal, she used to show some strengthening workouts. There's a coach Pani. I used to run a lot with Coach Pani, so he would also give lots of tips. I mean, these tips are so critical for you to be successful and not to get injured. These are, so I've been blessed to have a good system with me to guide me to be a good. So it's never come by fluke. There's been a lot of guidance, mentoring, support that I have got to ensure that I am going the correct track.
Right. So what are some of those tips that you might
for example, when running, it is more specific to running, how to maintain a pace. Is it okay that so like some say I walk for run for 4 minutes, take 1 minute recovery time, I'll just walk easy, and then 4 + 1. So that is one of the techniques. Some will have no control on what pace they are maintaining. So whatever your body feels like, you just do it. Sometimes you're okay to go fast, sometimes. So understanding all these different techniques. And so that is one. And then other techniques is like the different kinds of workouts. So you have the high intensity workouts, you have the long slow running, even high intensity also. There are multiple, right? You could do your intervals, tempos, hill workouts. So there are all these things that you could, fartleks you could do. So attempting all of this. So and a new runner have no clue about all of this, and then you have a team with whom you're doing it with. So so with all this guidance, it came perfect. It just fell on a platter for me, and it came perfect. And all this guidance is what worked.
Yeah, I mean, having that guidance is very important. but also having the willingness to learn
yes.
and implement them is also very important.
Yeah.
So you made it to the start line of your first marathon. So how was that experience?
I mean, when I think of it, I can even now cry. It is really unbelievable. I mean, I always keep telling I am privileged. Every time at the start line of TMM, I always say I am blessed that I get to stand in that TMM start line. It requires, because there's a lot of things which has gone in the background, right? And then you just being there itself is a blessing. First 1 kilometer, I'm only thanking God. God, thank you so much, for giving me this opportunity to experience. And for me, it's not running that 42, it is so spiritual. That journey, entire journey is very spiritual, and it's so much of power. There's so much of energy in that entire route. Everyone is running, everyone is putting the effort. Some are enjoying, some are struggling, some are, at the high of the peaks, So there's so much of, I tell this even to the program organizers, that such a wonderful thing. This place is far more powerful than any church, temple, mosque. None of them will give you that energy that you'll get in that route. So yeah, it's brilliant. Yeah, it is.
So what was your timing for your first marathon like?
I did it in 3 hours 49 minutes.
Okay.
Which is also very good. Sub 4 hours is a dream for people,
exactly.
And those days, so 2011, sub 4 hours is like, wow, you're already an elite.
Right. So you started, quite in a with good time.
Yeah, but there's a lot of effort, there's a lot which, people wouldn't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it hasn't come naturally. It is really put in.
Right. So the consistency, doing all those, putting in the mileage consistently, and then doing all those intervals and fartlek runs and tempos and everything.
And basic warming up, strengthening, all of that, what we used to learn in Nike Run Club.
Right.
I used to do a lot of that. Not lots, but I used to do that also at home. So that would also ensure that I'm injury free, and also ensuring that I don't overdo things. That's where that mentoring and guiding helps. You don't overdo it.
So let us, since we talk about, since you mentioned the stretching and that routine to keep yourself injury free. So what are some of those stretches and
Yeah, so
stuff?
Initially before, even today it's still the same. I mean, you would always start off, before you do your run, you always start off with your dynamic drills, warming up drills. So it depends on how much time you want to do your warm-up drills. So sometimes it could be just 5-7 minutes, sometimes it could be 15 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes, depending on the more the intensity, the more the time we spend on warming up. So do the warm-up drills and then we start the run. Whatever is the type of run and duration, you would do that. And then post-finish, I would again do some mobility drills and cooling down. Cooling down could be either some stretches and mobility, and then a bit of strengthening based on the time availability, because your legs are tired, everything tired. So it's good to do basic, it could be simple lunges, or plank or something like that. Just do at least 10-15 minutes if you spend. Is really very good.
Basically cool down
And and keep yourself fit.
Right.
Basically.
Right. So from your first marathon, right? So how did that journey progress in terms of, so you already started with 349.
Yeah.
So how did
So again here also there were a lot of things which was going good, So the good thing was post SCMM or TMM, then we have in month of May we have the 10K. And in the month of August, September, October, we have the half marathon happening, either the KTM or in Chennai or in Hyderabad. Somewhere there are lots of half marathons which happen. And then at the end of the year is where the full marathon happens. So again, post the full, you relax a bit and then focus more on building up your intensity with the 10Ks, with the 10K training. So then you would, regularly put up a lot more intense workouts and get faster in the 10K. So you would so endurance levels comes down, but your intensity you build it up with the 10Ks. You try to maintain that intensity by training for the half. And again, when you train for the full, you somewhere try to maintain that intensity and also then build up the endurance
volume as well.
So it's a combination of these two things that we put in, and then that's how. So 10K you tend to get faster, half also you can do it, and the next full also
you carry some of those benefit.
You really go
in speed work and stuff.
Yeah, so you can get faster, and from 2011 till 2019. 2018 I kept on having PB. 2019 was also a sub 3 hour run that I had.
Wow.
Yeah. So
what was your best marathon time till now?
In TMM it has been 2 hours 57 minutes and approximately 30 seconds.
Awesome.
Yeah, in
excellent.
TMM. Yeah.
And did you? Is that the best, or did you?
No, I mean in Delhi we have the New Delhi Marathon. That's where I've done my fastest. So I've done it in approximately 2 hours 55 minutes.
Wow. Yeah. So even Delhi, your is a relatively flat
and a much better, cooler weather. Unlike in Bombay, it's
more humid,
warm. Delhi, and this happens in the end of last week of Feb. It's far more cooler, really flat, and a very good place to do your personal best.
Yeah, nice. Okay, so that's quite impressive, right? So what I see you in your journey is like it's built on discipline and a lot of structure in terms of planning. There is peppered with 10K half marathons to marathons, and both speed work and volume kind of scenario where some of us endurance folks tend to get into that rut of the only volume, only endurance, and not much of speed work.
That's right. Yeah.
So you tend to do more and more of everything.
Yeah.
And we could easily see the results because for the just to give an idea for the listeners, so what are your PBs for 5K, 10K, 21 and 20, marathon you already told? Yeah,
so 5K I have done it in 17 minutes and I think 40 odd seconds. I don't remember exact. 17:40. Then 10K it has been 36 minutes and 23 seconds.
My 5K timings.
So 36:23 and then my half has been 1 hour 18 minutes and 38 something seconds.
Wow.
And full is 2 hours 57. My personal best is 2:55. I don't say that. I always quote the TMM timing because that is the challenging one. So I usually say it as 2 hours 57 minutes and 30 seconds.
Hardcore.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So you are known as Barefoot Bobby because you run barefoot, right? So how did this barefoot running come into the picture?
Yeah, that's a good point. Actually, see, I have heard of barefoot running and I'd seen few barefoot runners so that inspired me to at least attempt or just experience what is barefoot. So So basically one of the evening in the year 2012, in April 8th, I still remember, evening I was just sitting, so I just told my wife I'm just going out for a walk. I never told her I'm going barefoot, because obviously you're gone crazy. So so I just said I'm going out for a walk. I changed myself to a sports attire. I did. So just outside my house there's a 250 meters straight road, so I just had a walk 250 meters. It was reasonably fine. I was more conscious about what others will think of me, why is this man walking barefoot. It's completely unusual, right, to walk barefoot. So I did 250 meters, more than anything. I mean, one is I'm consciously trying to feel what the sole of my feet is reacting to it. It was fine. Looking at people, no one was much bothered. I then did another 250 meters, came back. So 500 meters was fine. I said, okay, let me do once again. So I did one more 500 meters, which was okay. I mean, my feet did not get any surprises or anything. Right. Then I thought, okay, let me try a easy jog and just see how does that feel. The easy jog was also good. It was reasonably comfortable. The sole of my feet had lot of new sensations. There are a lot of new sensations that it was getting. So I did a 500 meter jog. Then I thought I'll do one more 500 meter jog. Overall, I did not get any surprises. I did not have any cuts. I did not have any stones or nails or anything, glass pieces troubling me. So I finished off with a good feeling that it wasn't really bad. So, and then I came back home and everything normal. I freshened up. Next day was my regular run. So I did my regular workout, interval training or whatever it was. Day after that, I thought, okay, in my running route, let me try a barefoot one. So that day I did a 5 kilometer barefoot jog, easy jog, recovery jog, which was also reasonably fine. It did not trouble me anything. The day after that, when I had my regular workout with shoes, what I realized is that I'm feeling the weight of the shoes on my feet.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, because barefoot I was really comfortable, and next day when I'm running, I'm actually feeling the shoes on my feet. I wasn't very happy with it. I felt something unusual, but I did my workout, and throughout the workout I could actually feel that something's there on my feet. The day after that, again I did my regular, instead of 5 I did 7, which was fine. I did, and I enjoyed it. Again, the day after that, when I started running, it was even more conscious that I am now carrying a weight of the shoes on my feet. So every time I'm lifting my feet, there's something else additional that I'm lifting onto it. It was a bit challenging. So then I started getting a bit concerned. What am I going into? Should I even attempt barefoot? It seems to be dangerous, because it was very clear that I wouldn't be able to do long distance barefoot. See, distance, shorter distance like 4, 5, 6, 7 is fine, but not more than that is what I was thinking. So for sure it wasn't. Then I tried contacting 1 or 2 barefooters whom I knew. They said initially it will be like that. You try both. So that's how I started off. And then again, so April is when I started, and then again May end was the 10k event, TCS World 10k event. There I had to take a decision, am I going to run with shoes or barefoot? Right. And it was really not clear to me, because I had not done that level of intensity, and also there was another new problem called as top of the foot pain. All barefooters, when they start off, you get the top of the foot pain, which is literally that entire foot area. It is quite painful. So and it takes a lot more time to recover from that pain. So once you do a workout, you actually both the feet, top of the foot is paining. By next day you don't feel recovered. Then doing your regular workout with shoes, and then again, so it was the top of the foot pain was consistently there.
Okay. Yeah. Is that something that is per peculiar to
barefooters, only for barefooters. Yeah.
Okay.
Every barefooter initially when they transition, everyone goes through that because you lose the cushioning of the, you lose the cushioning factor.
The lace we tie and the muscles at the top of them are not getting engaged and stuff like that.
Because of the shoes, they're pampered, so you don't feel it. So when you run, you tend to hit your feet a bit more. So the impact on the feet is comparatively more. So you get that top of the foot pain.
Okay. And what do you do to get rid of it? Nothing
can be done. Nothing. I mean, you just need to recover from it.
Okay.
So luckily for me, and I've not heard anyone getting injured because of that, but it is new barefooters would always get it.
Okay.
That's one pain. Then the other one is the calves. Again, your calves and quads. Even
are
today,
being engaged more.
Much more.
Okay.
So even today, if I do a very high intensity race, and like in every TMM or every TCS World 10K, whenever I've done the fastest thing, every time my calves and quads would ache.
Okay.
Only in a race, but.
Right.
So that is one challenge with being barefoot. So yeah. So
do you need to do anything extra or specific for
calves and quads? Yeah, as a barefooter you need to be a bit more conscious. So you need to do a foam rolling or stretching, strengthening, all of that. And if you don't do that, then there could be the Achilles issues could come in. Or also the plantar issues could come in.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, whenever it comes, I need to focus a lot more on my foam rolling, and then I'm okay with it. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's how the barefoot. The initial 1 year of transitioning to barefoot is a little bit more painful.
Right.
Afterwards, it's comparatively gets better. But always again, once in 2 months I would get something entering into my feet.
Okay,
some minute glass piece, minute stone, very minute. It's not something that you can see it easily, and that goes in.
That's the most people have that fear, right?
Yeah,
that's right. Something will be cutting you and all that.
But I would say the biggest challenge is more of the fear than the actual reality.
I think it is true for anything in life.
Yeah, that's right. So it's a fear, which is 80% of the cause. The reality would be just, I would say, 10-20% of it. So you have to really remove off that fear, because again, like any day early morning when I start my run at 5, nothing in the road is visible. You don't know what are they stepping on. But till now nothing has happened. I've never had any major cut. I would have once in a quarter, once in 2 months, sometimes twice in 2 months I would get some small piece happening. But I'm in general.
So how do you avoid, or how do you take care of it?
Nothing. Sole of the feet gets stronger. So over years, that reduces that thing. Then see, on last Sunday, the roads were wet. It was raining last Saturday. It was raining the full morning. So when I did the full 36 kilometers, raining, the roads were wet. So your sole of the feet again gets tender. So that time I had one piece going in.
Okay.
So then the problem is you don't immediately come to know exactly where it has happened. After you reach home, it's actually gone inside. You don't know where exactly.
Right.
Then only the next day are you in a position to exactly, not exactly also, next day probably somewhere around here it is. The day after that you know exactly where it is, because you can actually see a small minute dot infection sort of a thing happening, a very small dot.
Right.
And that is the place, and then either my daughter or I'll visit a physician and they will get it
removed. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
is that something that puts you off? Or
no. Anytime better than running with shoes.
Yeah?
This is anytime. I would not, as of now at least, no.
I think. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Even I am not that keen also in the minimalistic, because many say wear the minimalist. But I'm being branded so much as a barefooter. I really wouldn't want. So I compromise on the trail runs. I don't do that because I can't, because if you're doing a trail, then I need to be
in shoes.
Some protection is required.
Right.
In a trail,
lunars or something like that.
Lunars or something like that. Yeah. So
something that at least covers your sole of the foot.
Yeah.
Without hindering you too much.
That's right. Yeah. So I need to get something, but I'm not that keen in trails. I haven't taken that interest to venture into the trail running because I've been more of a speedster, like the roads, when the trails I'm not been much. I would love the mountains, but if it is running, then running for me is a bit more, on a faster pace.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So great. So that gave us a nice idea about, and you gradually increased the distance and intensity and all, because that is very important, right? The chances of getting injured and everything become that much more when you are trying barefoot, right? What are some of the strength exercises that you would recommend for barefoot?
More on the feet, so a lot on your quads and calves and glutes, so you need to strengthen that a bit more and focus a bit more on the stretching, focus a bit more on the foam rolling. So anything which will strengthen the feet is what is required. So there are many things that can be done.
Okay, so now coming to injuries, right? So what did you kind of I think all endurance athletes go through that phase where you go through injuries and stuff. They become almost inevitable, and especially when you are pushing your limits so much, right? So what are some of the major injuries
I've also had almost all the injuries I've had. So I've had the Achilles, the plantar, the glutes, the hamstring pull. So all of this ITB I have not had. Luckily, I've not experienced
that is my nemesis. ITB. Whenever I do like 10k, more than 10k.
By the grace of God, I have not got ITB. And then overall, I'm quite stiff. Also, I'm not very flexible. So my hamstrings are very, very, very tight. So that itself makes me very stiff. So I've gone through all of this. So I've also been very, very lucky that I have access to good physios, and physios know my background as being a hardcore sportsman. So they really give me that extra attention. So I get far more easier access to them. And I am also very serious about injury. For me is absolutely a danger point. So I never take injuries lightly. So I immediately I would focus on it and consult someone and get it addressed. So I'm very conscious about getting injured, but an injury has never put me completely on bed. So whatever be the injury, what I have always said is lying, not running will not fix the issue. You have to do something to fix the issue. So I have never it has never ever in my life happened that I've taken a 1 week off because of an injury. I bring down my intensity, or I make it easier runs. So I've like glutes and all, I've had over 9 months. I couldn't even sit like this in the chair, so that much my glutes would ache. So sitting over 3 minutes means my glutes are aching. So I would still continue my runs, but mileage would be reduced by 50%, and I would do very specific exercises for the glutes.
The focus would shift towards
that specific thing. But I always tell everyone, see, resting is no magic. I always body will not automatically, if it is injured, you need to address that injury, you need to fix it. Resting will not fix that injury, and I'm very clear about it.
Basically you're saying resting is not rehabilitation.
That's that.
There is much more
to be done for it.
Okay. So you never stopped running, never. With
whatever
more
be the
serious
injury,
injuries.
whatever be the injury I've had, all types, I have never ever stopped.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So, and
Interesting.
this is one point people have actually taken up and asked me. I heard your video and you said like this. You have not. Isn't that dangerous?
Right.
Because normally everyone would. But again, I haven't crossed those limits that anyone would ever say that, oh, you cannot run. So I haven't.
You haven't really
blown off to that.
badly.
Yeah, blown off to that levels.
Like maybe needing a surgery or something
Yeah,
like
that's
that.
right. Probably I haven't crossed those levels. That's why I haven't been.
No, I mean, if you are someone like knee surgery or something like that, you would obviously be resting and all.
No,
that, right?
I mean, even when I had a meniscus tear, I had a knee surgery. So the initial couple of days itself, I wasn't. I was in the house.
Walking. Wow. Okay.
So though the doctor would say, forget doctor, at home itself, my doctor never spoke to me. He said he was speaking to my wife and daughter, saying that he should not be doing anything. The thing is, you should not be overloading your knee. So I would try my best that at least I put in a little bit of a walk without overstraining my knee, so being a bit more active rather than just lying on the bed, taking it as an opportunity to just relax and enjoy. I would at least get up from the bed, then slowly, keep myself active with something or the other.
You are really something.
Yeah, seriously. I'll tell you that might be in some time, So I always kept myself super active. In fact, I still remember, 3 weeks down the line, I had an appointment with the same doctor, the surgeon, to evaluate the status.
Yeah, the meniscus tear. What happened there? And
so it wasn't any one point that triggered it. It is over years.
Okay.
So I assume, in my workouts, I've been doing a lot of the step jumps and box jumps.
Okay.
Extensively I've been doing it. So I assume that could be the cause, because there's no way to know what is the cause.
Yeah. Okay.
Because just it has happened. Now we don't know what is it running, is it barefoot, but I personally feel.
Is that something that happened that you felt like, at one day or something like?
Just out of nothing, all of a sudden, it just cropped up during my run.
Okay.
So I had planned to do a 25k run at around the 16th-17th kilometer. This thing came up.
Okay.
And I have never ever in my life ever walked in my training run, and that time, because of this, I actually stopped. For me, it's unusual that I would ever stop.
Right.
It has never happened, So that day was really unusual. I stopped. I stretched a bit and I attempted. I wasn't at all comfortable and I wasn't feeling good, so I had to actually stop and then catch a and come back home. So
okay, so you immediately went to the doctor.
So then that day I thought it might be something temporary, so it wasn't. So then that day I rang up Yash that day evening. I told him something like this. Next day was supposed to be his holiday, but he came to the clinic just so that he could see me. And because I called him, so he knows that it's something really serious. So when he said, it seems to be some issues there, then he told me to do an MRI and immediately get it done the same morning. Got an MRI, again showed him the report, and he said, yes, there is a meniscus tear, but only thing is we don't know how acute it is. So he told me to get an ortho opinion, and then it was the month of December, so there was a lot of things happening at home, and there was Christmas festivals and partying happening. So I never met the ortho. I was taking it, so I thought it would take care. Then it only later that I met the ortho and got it.
They advised to,
and he immediately said there's no choice other than a surgery. So it is. Yeah, and then again, my comeback from the surgery has been pretty disciplined. And
so how long did it take for you to after surgery to
so what has happened is for almost over 4 months, over 4 months, I have 4-5 months, I haven't been doing running. Neither was I able to do, because nobody at home was permitting me to do any proper strengthening workouts, because anything would impact the knee. So I would only go out for walks and walk, and that's all what I used to do. So that really took me back. A lot of my training that I built it up, everything came back, because 4-5 months of no running.
When was this?
This was this year, 2022 Jan.
Wow,
So this happened in November, last day of November, 30th November. This happened. So December I did not do anything, because it was more of a festive moment at home. It was more of celebration.
Right.
So I did not want to upset that entire celebration mood by going to a hospital and getting so. But mid of Jan is when I
got the surgery done. Yeah. Okay. And since then you slowly got back to running.
Then I got back into that same rigor, into that. So exact schedule what doctor said, so he had tried to exercise within 2 weeks you'll be able to walk out, within 3 weeks you can do your swim, you can start walking in the water, within 4 weeks you can do cycling. So he told me all these things, and I actually took it very, 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 very seriously, and actually ensured that I'm doing all of that. And then for sure, Yash Pandey from Peak Performance, he also knows, how serious I am in all of this. So he also ensured, he gave me so I was with him till now. I continue my sessions with him.
So now you are back to running 10Ks and half marathons.
And next week I'll be doing my full. So in the Bangalore marathon it will be a full. So after
the injury it will be the first marathon. Okay. All the best. I'm sure you will do
Thank you.
So that is the injury part. But after all this, or during this period, what is your mental state like? Did it
No, it never upset me. I was reasonably chilled out. I was highly disciplined. So disciplined, as I said, I will be to the limits in terms of discipline. So I was highly disciplined. So I knew I'm not going wrong anywhere. I'm nowhere being lazy. So it is perfectly going. I also knew that I've already lost a lot of my, the level. So if I'm at this level, I've come down literally by almost 5-6 years. I've come down. So even for me to beat the levels of what I was 5-6 years back itself would be quite challenging. So I knew it. But for me, I'm in a state where, I'm in the seventh heavens. I know I've achieved everything. I know, so nothing is upsetting me in my mind. I'm in the best of moods, and now taken an early retirement, so even better.
Right.
Sort of mood. So overall, I'm a chilled out person. So
good. Yeah, it is very easy to kind of take these things too seriously, and I'm speaking from my experience that why not able to go out and ride, that lack of those endorphins that we are so used to. It's like it can get to you, but good to hear that you are able to.
But levels of discipline has been really crazy. So so including swimming has never been easy for me. I struggle in the pool, so anyone could make fun. Look at him struggling in the pool. That's one place where we are far better than him. So it is difficult, it is challenging, but that's what it is. So if I have to get back, there's no shortcut, right? We have to go through that process. And mentally not torture yourself is what I would recommend to anyone.
Right.
Don't.
So through this journey, you have been working. Now you have relaxed. But how did you kind of manage your work life, family life, and
family
endurance?
life? I will focus first because obviously so my wife has been extremely supportive, and I also consciously would effort. No, that's why I have never been a person who has ever been on the TV. So for me, it is either my sports or my work or my family and friends. So never been much into all the other aspects. So wherever I would get time, ensure that I'm spending time with the family. So that was really very clear. I'm personally also quite a family-oriented person. I try to spend as much as possible time with the family. So that was there. Work front, it was extremely challenging. But again, it is very rare that you are very good in sports but very poor in work. That will never happen, because the quality of attention that you give in sports is same. You want also in your work, because you have your colleagues. You can't expect them to curse you.
True,
is really not fair. So would ensure that I have never been over aggressive in work, saying that. So I'm very clear that I would devote that many hours specifically, and then also I would work from home as opposed to minimize the commute time to the office.
That is huge,
Yeah, that's huge, really huge.
Like,
but that was something which I personally had taken decision, that this is how I will work, and ensure that my colleagues, everyone supports me in this. So so work point of view, I mean, work is extremely critical, extremely serious. You have your colleagues, and my colleagues were all global team. Nobody from India. It was very few from India. Most of them were global team. So everyone focuses highly on quality, on punctuality, on their schedules to be followed. You cannot afford to miss any of that. So work is critical, and we know work is what finally also pays us. So,
correct. Yeah.
So it is a very, very critical aspect. So it's not just money. Yeah, it's all of this together. So so would ensure that so minimize wasting time on anything else, and
and focus on the family, work, and the endurance aspects.
So that's why I say, in a year, not even 5 minutes I would spend in front of the TV or watching anything on my mobile. Never. Never.
That is something that I need to. It is, we tend to post on social media, or nowadays everything is on the tip of the fingers, right? Streamings, this series, that series. I mean, as an youngster, I've been always a movie buff and a creative. I call myself a creative person, but I always enjoyed that entertainment aspect of it. So that is an aspect that I am really focusing on right now, so that I'm trying to consciously make sure that I'm watching something that I want.
Will help you,
that will help me, one thing, but watching only during the time I am spending on trainer. So that
that's the time you can get.
That becomes a kind of a reward,
right?
For while working out, I will watch getting the entertainment as well, and that's helping. But it does. I mean, I'm not successful always. I kind of tend to veer off, but that is good to know. That is something that I'm taking away from this conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
As well. So again, what are some of the tips that you would give working athletes to do well at sport? And
I mean, I wouldn't make it overcomplicated. I would always try. It is just follow a discipline, follow a pattern, be consistent in it. I mean, it's just that consistent, and also one more possible thing is there's always a fear which people carry. Oh, I should not overdo it. I should not. So, I mean, at least for me, I would never carry that fear. I would always put in everything, literally everything that my body could give. Literally, that's how I would
you
train.
Would need that to kind of make any kind of progress.
Absolutely, and
the kind
the
that
fear
you have
is the
done.
biggest thing which stops people from attempting anything. So now I have that fear, now I have that fear with this, and then with this COVID thing coming in, that also puts me a fear, and so now I have that fear. Now I don't go to those insane
because of the
levels.
surgery
And anything could crop up all of a sudden,
Right.
so that's why that I don't go to those insane levels, and also I don't have that fire, so that's also there. So
Right.
all of this put in together, I don't do. But previously, it is when I do the workouts itself, I would think, oh my God, if someone sees me do this, what would they be thinking about me? Literally, I know what the way I used to train.
Yeah.
So
that is fantastic. It's been a fantastic conversation, Bobby. Thank you for taking the time and sharing your journey with the Working Athlete podcast.
Thanks, and I'm glad that I get to talk and share some of my experiences, because many people keep asking me about this. So glad that this is a tool, and I'm sure this will help many.
Definitely will help many. Thanks again.
Thank you, Venky.
That was my conversation with Bobby. I hope you enjoyed that. If you are enjoying these podcasts and are finding them useful, please consider supporting the podcast by subscribing to the channel on YouTube as well as on your favorite podcasting app. It really helps. Thanks again for your continuous support. See you next week with another guest.